Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in, because if you're a business leader focused on squeezing every ounce of ROI out of your supply chain, you are exactly in the right place. Today, we're exploring how a properly configured warehouse management system, or WMS, takes your high-level digital strategy and turns it into massive, tangible, physical savings out on the warehouse floor. Take a second and think about the number 99.9. Hitting 99.9% inventory accuracy and doing it without ever having to shut down production, well, that is the ultimate ROI standard for a modern WMS. It's literally the gold standard of warehouse efficiency, and today we're going to break down exactly how you get there. So, to show you how we get to that bottom line value, our roadmap today covers 4 stops: the WMS ROI advantage, bridging IT and operations, the 4 pillars of efficiency, and finally, navigating tech adoption roadblocks. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the WMS ROI advantage, looking at the strategic benefits for long-term growth. As an executive overseeing a supply chain, you're always hunting for those high-level financial and strategic advantages, right? Well, at the end of the day, a successfully implemented WMS acts like a highly advanced digital brain for your entire physical operation. When you architect this digital brain properly, the results are huge. You drastically cut order cycle times, you minimize those incredibly costly human errors, and you can literally save millions of dollars in wasted labor and lost inventory. We are talking about a total transformation of your operational cost structure. But building that highly profitable digital brain means aligning complex software with real-world physical limitations. And that brings us to Section 2, bridging IT and operations, and the essential translation between the two. This slide brilliantly illustrates the great divide in almost any major tech implementation. Over on the left, you've got your IT developers. They live and breathe code, APIs, and databases. But on the right, you have operations. Your warehouse managers are out there focusing entirely on physical realities, things like inventory turnover, picking routes, and labor hours. So we've got a pretty big problem here. These two groups speak completely different languages. So how do we cross that divide? Enter the IT functional consultant. They act as the essential bridge. Now, they might not be the ones writing the actual code, but they are the critical translator. They take those physical, operational business needs and map them perfectly into WMS configurations. Basically, they design the exact blueprint for how your software is going to behave in the real world, which completely prevents those massive, expensive operational disconnects. All right, moving right along to Section 3, the 4 pillars of efficiency. Let's look at the actual roadmap for operational improvement. You see, the physical flow of goods through your facility totally dictates the configuration strategy. To really maximize that ROI, the WMS has to be optimized across 4 sequential steps. We go from inbound operations to slotting optimization to outbound operations, and finally, replenishment and cycle counting. Let's break each of these down. Starting with Pillar 1, inbound operations. Efficiency here has to start the absolute second a truck bumps the dock. We configure the system for advanced shipping notices and blind receiving. That basically means staff have to physically count the items when they arrive instead of just lazily checking off a manifest. But here's the real magic: directed put-away algorithms. The moment a product hits the dock, the digital brain instantly calculates exactly which zone, aisle, and bin it needs to go to. It factors in how fast the item sells, how heavy it is, and even its hazard level. There is 0 second guessing by the floor staff. They just follow the system. Once the goods are inside, we hit Pillar 2, slotting optimization. Honestly, a messy warehouse is simply a slow warehouse. Let me give you a great case study of this in action. A major fast fashion retailer recently used their WMS to analyze seasonal order patterns. The system automatically reslotted their high-demand summer items directly next to the packing stations while shoving the heavy, slow-moving winter stock up to the top and back racks. The result? They reduced total picker travel distance by 30%. It's a total structural game changer for minimizing the physical travel time of your workforce. Next up is Pillar 3, outbound operations. Let me tell you, this right here is where the money is truly made or lost. The functional consultant sets up smart outbound picking strategies based entirely on your specific business model. Got high volume orders? We configure wave picking. Does efficiency for you mean grabbing multiple items at once? Then we use batch picking. Or maybe we set up zone picking, which works just like a highly coordinated relay race. The WMS calculates the absolute optimal walking path for every single picker. We are talking about saving thousands of footsteps and thousands of labor dollars every single day.
Finally, Pillar 4 brings us to replenishment and cycle counting. Think about traditional operations for a second. You usually have to bring the entire warehouse to a grinding halt just to do an annual physical inventory count. What a massive loss of productivity, right? Instead, the WMS sets up automated cycle counting schedules. The system uses automated triggers to flag specific high-value bins for counting. It all happens quietly in the background, keeping your inventory perfectly accurate while your daily production just keeps humming along.
Now, of course, translating digital code into a seamless physical reality is rarely a walk in the park. Which brings us to our final section, navigating tech adoption roadblocks and overcoming those pesky implementation challenges. To actually realize all that ROI we've been talking about, executives and their consultants really have to actively guide the organization through three major roadblocks: the integration gap, master data cleanliness, and change management. Let's look at that first one, the integration gap. Your WMS doesn't just live in a vacuum. It's part of a much larger ecosystem. You have to ensure flawless real-world data mapping between your new WMS and your existing ERP systems like SAP or NetSuite. And it goes way beyond just the software. The WMS also has to integrate perfectly with your physical material handling equipment. Think automated picking cranes or complex conveyor belts. If they aren't talking to each other perfectly, your whole structural integrity falls apart. And that leads us right into the second roadblock, master data cleanliness. There's a quote here that hits the nail on the head. Garbage in, garbage out. Cleaning your data is literally 40% of the battle. Let me give you a very real example of how a simple data mapping error can totally wreck daily operations. Let's say your ERP has the wrong physical dimensions or weights listed for a product. Well, the WMS assumes those numbers are absolute fact, so it'll automatically try to direct a massive heavy pallet into a tiny lightweight bin. Bad digital inputs create disastrous, incredibly expensive physical collisions right there on the warehouse floor. Your data simply has to be pristine.
Finally, we've got change management. Look at the stark difference here between traditional manual processes and modern automated systems. Your warehouse staff are probably super used to legacy green screen systems, carrying around paper logs, and dealing with those annoying annual shutdowns. Asking them to transition to scanner guns, automated triggers, and seamless cycle counting. That is a massive culture shift. As an executive, you've got to actively manage this transition with intensive training, really clear communication, and honestly, a healthy dose of empathy. Getting people to actually trust an automated system takes time.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about your own operational ROI and ask yourself one absolutely crucial question. Take a hard look at your current infrastructure. Is your supply chain technology functioning as a true digital brain, flawlessly translating IT logic into real physical efficiency? Or is it just a digital bottleneck holding you back? Bridging that gap between IT and ops is exactly where your ultimate ROI is hiding. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I really look forward to exploring more operational strategies with you next time.